Hey everybody, welcome back to Lost Lens Caps, your photography podcast where we talk all things photography. I'm your host, Jacob Rice. Today I'm here with Katie Liskey.
Hello.
Katie Liskey is a seasoned photography assistant and also is my girlfriend of about 4 years now.
Almost
4 years. Katie, how you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
You seem awkward and stressed. Are you awkward and
I'm
stressed?
not stressed.
Are you sure about that?
Yes, I've just never been on a podcast before.
Well, I've only been on a podcast twice. This is my second time now, so
we're pretty experienced.
very experienced.
You're getting the A team.
Pound it. Boom. None of this is going to show up on camera. Dope. Okay.
We just did our handshake for the viewers at home that couldn't see that.
Also, this is a video podcast, so if you are not watching this on YouTube or Spotify, you should probably watch the video part because it's kind of essential because we're going to be inserting photos, see all the cool graphics, and you can see me do this. I just said hi, my name is Jacob in ASL. Katie just did it too. Whoa.
Mm-hmm.
Can't get that on the audio podcast.
Exactly.
So watch the video.
Watch it.
We need more views.
And you can see my face.
And my face. Today we're going to talk about assisting in photography. Katie has assisted me quite a lot in my portrait sessions and some weddings too, right? One wedding.
Mm-hmm.
How would you describe photo assisting for me?
I think that probably for someone who knows anything about photography, it might make a little more sense for them. But basically, I just stand near you and I do what you tell me to do. A lot of times I hold the reflector thing and then you position me. Or sometimes I'll take photos of you while you're doing photos. Sometimes every once in a while, I will say, what if they did this? And then you go, no, I don't think so.
You're making me out to be the bad guy.
No, you just know what you're doing more than I do. But sometimes you like my ideas.
That's true.
But not all that often.
Whoops. So yeah, how long have you been photo assisting for me?
Since probably since January 2020, probably.
So only a few months after we started dating.
Mm-hmm.
Katie, you were actually a big muse of mine for portraits in our early part of our relationship. We would do, little portrait sessions, go downtown, take some photos. And you actually helped me a lot in terms of getting comfortable with portraiture and doing senior photos too.
Just for the record, I want to make it known that I am the reason why he is going to be a photographer.
I am a photographer.
Well, why you're going to get a job, pursue a career in photography.
Yeah, that's true.
Yep. So you're welcome to the world for making J. Rice photos a thing.
Aw. So a little timeline of Katie and I's relationship. So within the early stages of our relationship, it was during show choir season in high school. At show choir competitions, we'd travel to different schools, and I kind of volunteered myself to be in charge of photographing all of the show choirs. So when we would watch shows together, you'd hold my lens bag. And you'd be like, give me this one, give me the 70 to 180, give me the 20 to 75, the small one.
And I'd say, what's that? I don't know what that is. But just for some context, there were 3 show choirs at our high school. So there was the JV one, and then there was the women's varsity, which I was in, and then there's the varsity, mixed varsity that he was in, because he is better at both singing and dancing than I am. And
you're literally in a college choir.
Not anymore.
Okay, well, you
also,
were.
You don't have to be good to be in that. You just have to want to do choir. So, anyways, but obviously you can't photograph yourself while you're performing on stage. So he would take photos of my show choir while we were performing, and then I would attempt to take photos of his choir while they were performing. Yep. Do you have any good examples of really good photos that I took while you're performing, or really bad ones?
Before going into the photos, what we would do is I would shoot the first junior varsity and then women's varsity, and I would keep those settings locked in, and I would give the camera to her before I went on to perform, and I'd be like, don't mess with any buttons, just point and shoot. And there were several times where I'd get the camera back and I'm like, why are the settings all mixed up? Why is the shutter at like 250 when I had it set to like 1000? Or like, why is the ISO so high? No offense, but like
I didn't change anything though. I think sometimes like the lighting would be different or something, or like your costumes would reflect light differently or something. Because I don't know anything about settings on cameras still to this day. So I didn't change anything, for the record.
What I think happened is that when you were holding the camera around, following us along, at some point settings would get jiggled around, like dials might have been accidentally moved, buttons might have been pushed, and that's where things got messed up. But in the grand scheme of things, photos were pretty good for our varsity, and they actually, I think they're still using some photos from our competitions that you photographed and I photographed.
I am credited as a photographer on our high school's website.
Yeah, that's pretty crazy. So am I. Not to brag.
Well, yeah, but that's your job. It's not my job to be a photographer.
Yeah.
Speaking of high school,
I had some drama with the yearbook in my senior and junior year of high school. You know this. I wanted to be credited in their stuff, and I wasn't senior year. In junior year, I got a couple credits, even though they used a ton of my photos. Sometimes they just didn't credit me. Senior year, in the yearbook, I don't think I had a single credit in there, which kind of sucked because that's when I was doing a lot of work for them. I did like high school basketball to the state championship. I covered after prom.
Show choir.
Yeah, all the show choir stuff. Theater. Didn't get credit.
Nope.
What are you going to do? It's just high school, you know?
Which is a trend even now in college, because they don't credit you on the Instagram for athletics.
That's true. Yeah. With athletics in college programs, a lot of times they don't credit photographers just because it's kind of the last thing on their mind. So here with Cyclones TV, I love them to death. Like, love them, love the opportunities they've given me. But the one thing that I wish they could do is maybe like put in that little bit of extra effort to like credit the photographer, just because.
Just add a tag to the post. It's not even that hard.
Yeah, I think it's mostly because, not to trash talk the program. I love the program. Just want to say that. Don't fire me, please. The people who are posting most often are the communications people, and they're not trained in social media usually. So,
well, they should be if they're posting on a huge account.
Yeah, that's
just my opinion.
When it comes
Don't fire him because of me.
When it comes to like basketball and football, I understand they're all about time. They want to get it out as fast as possible. The last thing I want to worry about is crediting a photographer. But a place like you and I, we found out recently, they tag in like every post who the photographer was, giving credit to them, which I really appreciate. But yeah, I don't know. I just think if I were to get credit for those, I feel like I would be more in the limelight of like getting attraction from, you know, followers and brands and stuff, and like, I don't know, just getting notoriety, I guess.
More engagement.
More engagement, yeah. Oh yeah, check out my Instagram, J Rice Photos, like 3,000 followers almost.
Also, in case anyone was just curious for whatever reason, what's your website URL again? I don't remember.
jrice.photography.
Okay, so if you go to jrice.photography, and then you go to the blog section, and then you scroll down a little bit, there is a whole blog post dedicated to me for Valentine's Day a couple years ago, and it's very romantic.
Yeah, and every once in a while I'll update it with like new pictures in there.
And if you are ever curious about how we met and began to date, that story is on there. And you tell it a lot more romantically than I do, so.
Yeah, if you want to check out information about our relationship, you can, yeah. But back to the important issues.
So I'm not important to you.
The important information at hand right now is about photography, because this is a photography podcast. This is not a couple podcast.
You shouldn't have brought your girlfriend on.
That is true. I should not. You suck.
Stop.
Okay. Let's go back to some senior photos. So, senior photos. You've helped with countless senior photos.
Mm-hmm.
So, let's talk about our experience with the most recent batch of seniors from this past year.
We're going to take a quick break here to thank the sponsor of today's video, which is not a sponsor at all. It's just funny, I guess, which is Nikon Professional Services. This hat is too big for me.
As you know, Nikon is not my choice of camera brands, but if they choose to sponsor me, I would love to shoot with Nikon.
We are big fans of Nikon here at Voss Lens Caps.
I would absolutely drop Sony in a heartbeat if Nikon wanted to pay me thousands of dollars to use their products and promote their products. So Nikon, if you're watching this, I'm open. I'll take your money. How do you feel about Nikon?
They are so good. They're so great, especially when they, sponsor up-and-coming photographers like jrice.photos here. He is the most talented photographer I know.
I'm the what?
Most talented photographer I know.
Oh, I just wanted to hear you say it again.
I also know not that many photographers.
Thanks.
Tyler Coe, who was on the last episode, is probably third on my list.
Who's second?
I think John
Byler?
So, just a little background. I'm going to take this hat off. I don't like this hat. Just for some context, I am a senior at the University of Kansas. So, being here in Ames, Iowa is a little problematic for me because Iowa State and KU don't really get along that well. But there's a photographer who just graduated. He used to be at the Daily Kansan, right? Mm-hmm. Was he the visual editor there?
Multimedia editor
at the University Daily Kansan, the student newspaper at KU. And he takes a lot of really good photos. And he's from KU.
Quick shout out to all the peeps at the Daily Kansan. Me and Tyler, when traveling for the Big 12 basketball tournament, we always hang out with them. Whenever we go to Kansas, we see them and we talk, and we have like a nice relationship on social media where we're like shout each other out. And NCAA tournament was also a great time. So
you didn't see them at the NCAA tournament. You didn't see them at that.
Well, no, we talked to them during the Des Moines NCAA tournament.
Oh.
Yeah, so I'm going to put up some of their names on here and show some of their accounts and give them a follow. They're really great people and great photographers.
Yes, they are. And they work at the best school in the country, so that helps too.
KU fans are so pretentious.
Iowa State fans are dumb.
Anyways, so what were we talking about? Senior photos?
Yeah, the most recent batch of seniors.
Yeah, so the most recent batch of seniors, I think you assisted a couple times. Like maybe twice?
I know we did the one with the car.
The car?
The guy with the car.
Oh, yeah. So I think you assisted two.
Who was the other one?
The guy with the car and then Jackson.
Oh, yeah.
So the two seniors that we photographed together, you were on video duty for one, where you were doing like behind the scenes video, and then all the footage got lost.
It did?
Yeah.
Oh, I don't remember this.
Yeah, I never told you. This is how I'm telling you.
You lost it?
No, when I took it out of the SD card, it was like empty. So I don't know what happened, but between taking the video of the behind the scenes to importing it to the computer, it was empty. So
That was not my fault. I would just like to state for the record that's not my fault.
sure.
I didn't do it.
In that senior photo, it was like downtown Des Moines, because like that's where everyone takes their senior photos here in Iowa, because downtown Des Moines is kind of like the only like central spot where everything's pretty and like it's easy to travel to, and you know, it just has a lot of nice spots where you can take photos, a lot of like, you know, variability and like different types of brick buildings and sculptures. So yeah, how was that one, going downtown and doing behind the scenes video? Like, what do you have to say about them? How'd they go? What was your experience like?
Well, I guess the first one that we did, well, I guess we did both of them downtown. Well, the first one was in the summer, and he was a cool guy. The guy was very cool, classic jock. I actually used to dance with his sister, so that was a weird little connection. And he seemed a little tense at first because his dad was there and was a little hands-on with the photos. But then we went to the baseball field at his high school, and then he was a lot more chill because then his dad like went to work or something, and so it was better there. I mean, I think we got some really good photos.
Yeah, that guy's senior photos were actually some of my favorite I've ever taken. I think probably for guy senior photos, they were my favorite. They're just so clean. Like the lighting was perfect that day. Conditions were perfect. Outfits were good. Like he's a stylish dude. And I don't know, he was easy to photograph. Like you were saying at the beginning, his dad was there and he was, I don't know. I think a common occurrence is when parents come to senior photos, they want to take control of stuff and like pose how they would when they were in high school, which I don't know. I think you should let your kids
wear things that they would have worn. And
yeah, I think you should let your kids kind of just wear what they want and do what they want for their senior photos. Because the last thing you want to do when you are looking back at your senior photos is think, oh, I wish I could have worn like what I wanted. Oh, I wish my dad wouldn't have made me wear that. Like maybe if you are looking like you're just doing senior photos just because your parents want you to do them, it doesn't matter. But if you want your senior photos to be good and like feel natural, you should do what you want, not what your parents.
Yeah. But I think that all the photos I've seen that have been taken on like baseball fields look so good.
Yeah, the lighting was great. He had like, I think it was like 6:30, 6:45 and the sun was setting and he had really good golden light on his face. So it had like a good contrast of dark and light, and he's throwing the ball in the air and like the light's just hitting his face great, and you can see the backboard illuminated and the field is, you know, glowing green.
The backboard?
Or the scoreboard. Yeah, is that what it's called? Yeah, scoreboard. Once again, I don't know anything about sports, but I'm a sports photographer, so...
Even like other senior photos that weren't him that you've taken at baseball and softball fields have, I think, turned out really well. Even with the light not being as perfect, I think they look good.
Oh, thanks.
Okay, here's something about Jacob. He always, after like almost every single time that you take photos, you're like, oh, they just turned out so bad and they don't look good and I had to use this camera and it looks so stupid. The majority of people who are going to see your photos, or the people who you are typically taking photos for, do not have a trained photography eye like myself. So they'll just look at it and they'll say, yeah, that looks good.
Yeah, I think that's pretty common among photographers. They hold themselves to a higher standard of like, it has to be perfect. It has to be amazing. And I think we get so into our heads of like, if it's not absolutely perfect, it's trash, which isn't true because, you know, like you were saying, photographers are just hard on themselves. Yeah. I think looking back at photos I've taken, I'm like, why did I hate those photos? Those are pretty good. But like in the moment, I'm like, oh, these are trash, which I got to get better at. You know, not every photo is going to be perfect. Not every photo is going to be the photo you hang on your wall.
But like, you're a good photographer and you take good photos. So it's like, that's all the people like me are going to see.
Yeah.
We're not going to say, oh, that I don't even know. I don't even know what you don't like about the photos. But like, I just see a good photo.
Yeah, I appreciate that. Can you tell me a little bit about how your experience went at the second senior photo we did later in the fall?
Well, first of all, it was cold, and we were in a parking garage because this guy wanted to take photos like with his car, which I don't really get that at all. But you know, whatever. He wanted it, so it's fine. But I don't really know if I did a whole lot, to be honest, at that one.
Well, no, at that one, because I was using an external light for that senior photo. At the other one, we were doing natural light.
I kind of just held the flash.
Yeah, so at senior photos, I'll usually take a C-stand, like a heavy-duty one, because we're just going around downtown, concrete and everything. So a heavy-duty C-stand, and then a Godox AD200, or sometimes 2 with the adapter on, and then a softbox over top of it. And we'll just take that around downtown. And with this one, it was kind of a darker area. It was in the parking garage for the first one. So I had an external light lighting him up and separating the background a little bit. So, yeah. So, yeah, for that one, you're mostly lugging around a heavy light.
Yeah. But, yeah, I don't know. I thought the photos turned out really well, actually. But he was just kind of an interesting guy.
Yeah, that senior photo was a little bit, I don't know.
Awkward,
yeah. I could tell he wasn't as comfortable in front of the camera, which is common amongst teenage boys, you know. And I don't know. It just felt like slugging along. Like we were like, is that the right word? Slugging along.
I don't know if it was sluggish necessarily, but it was just like he didn't know what to do. And
yeah, like he didn't know what he wanted to do, and we didn't really know what he wanted, so we were kind of just trying out a bunch of different stuff, hoping that he liked it, you know. And it was relatively easy. It was pretty short. The only problem was it was cold.
Yeah, it was really cold.
Yeah, and we were downtown on top of a parking garage, so winds were kind of heavy, and our noses were getting like red and runny, and you could tell his hands were like shaking. He was cold, but luckily he was wearing like fur coats for his senior photos, which is something I've never experienced before. People wanting to wear fur for their senior fix, but yeah, I think the first one we did together this past senior was probably our best. Like, it was so easy for us.
The baseball one?
Yeah, the baseball one. Because honestly, you were kind of like a shelf for that senior photo. Holding
I really was. I just kind of held everything.
Yeah, you were holding the light, reflector, and then clothes, hangers, and stuff.
Because like for the baseball, he wore like a bunch of jerseys, or like had a bunch of them hanging up, and so I kind of just... Oh, and we went to the football stadium for that one too. Remember, because it was the band camp.
Oh, yeah. We took photos in the stands.
Yeah, there was a band camp going on in the field that day. So we kind of just like were awkwardly walking around the band people. We went in the stands. I think you went on the like end zone at one point.
Yeah, we took... Oh my gosh, I'm totally forgetting. Yeah, I forgot about the football ones. Those were great too. Yeah, shout out to Jackson Adams.
Yeah.
He's a cool dude. He's going to play college football at Augustina, whatever it's called.
One of those.
In like North or South Dakota, somewhere over there. But yeah, let's talk about the weddings we've done together. One wedding. So I have shot a couple weddings. I would not say I'm a good wedding photographer. Like I kind of wing it. I'm like, okay, let's go. Let's do this.
I thought they were good.
Yeah, the wedding we did together, the photos turned out good, but I don't know. The couple wasn't really too concerned about photos. They were kind of just, you know, enjoying themselves, having fun, hanging out with friends and family. And the photos we took together of like them like just alone, those are some of my favorite I've taken, because they did the first look, and he like spun her around, and those were awesome. And then the party photos afterwards were so cool because I had the flash on, facing the subjects with like a shutter drag. It was awesome. It was really like party-ish. But yeah, I don't know. I would not say I'm too good with wedding stuff. So having you there was great for that, because I had someone to like ground me a little bit, you know, keep my head on straight. Oh, and we had Eli there. Eli Borgestad. Shout out to him. He's awesome. He does a lot of weddings here in the Des Moines, Ames area. But yeah, Eli has been my second shooter at a couple weddings now. He's been awesome. His work's always cool. He also shoots Sony.
Yep.
Shout out to Sony. We love Sony. We're shooting on Sonys right now. A7R4 and an A7 III.
That's Your camera.
Yeah, that one is my camera, and that one over there, your camera, is Iowa State Dailies. Oh yeah, by the way, this podcast is made in association with the Iowa State Daily Media Group. Shout out to the Iowa State Daily. We love them.
Yes, we do.
Yeah. So yeah. What was your experience like with the wedding we shot together?
Well, probably one of my more favorite parts was getting to eat dinner. They gave us food, and it was really good. But it was a little bit awkward because we were, like, sitting at a table with other wedding guests. And, like, we were all working, so it was, like, kind of, like, I don't know who you are. But the food was good, and I got a photographer, like, plate, like a name card. So that was cool. I just thought it was cool to be around a wedding in that context because I've never even been a bridesmaid or anything. I've only ever been to like one wedding ever for any reason. So it was cool to see it through a lens.
Photography pun. Yeah, before I was doing photography, my dad had a wedding music business, so we would like do DJing and photo booths and stuff at weddings. So I've been to probably like 100 weddings in that sense. So when I started doing the wedding photography stuff, I had an idea of like what it's like from the perspective of an employee there and not an attendee or a guest or, you know, one of the party members. But yeah, I don't know. I feel like I had a good sense of what goes on, the timeline, and how to conduct myself. Because I've always been like in a black polo, stand over there, keep quiet, don't cause any drama, just do your service and all that stuff. So I feel like I did all right in that sense. But as a photographer, you're kind of supposed to, or I think
take charge a little.
I think as a photographer for weddings, you have to be many roles. You have to like be the leader of conducting group photos and getting everyone into their different groups and, you know, being take charge kind of person. And then you also kind of have to be friends like with the bride and groom, because if they're not comfortable with you, how are they going to pose in front of photos, and how are they going to feel comfortable in their photos? How are they going to look back in the photos and be like, you know, happy with what they see? Because all they could remember is I didn't know the photographer, and like it was so awkward, and like we didn't think the same thing. He didn't know what he wanted. We didn't know what we wanted. Like at the end of the day, you got to be friends or acquaintances at least with the people you're photographing. So
I think you did a good job of that with the bride.
Yeah,
for that wedding.
What?
For that wedding, I think you did a good job of that with the bride.
Yeah.
She was very nice too.
Yeah, so they were really nice. Plus, oh my gosh, her tattoos were so cool.
Mm-hmm.
We'll
and
put a photo up.
Didn't her dress have pearls on it?
Yeah, those were awesome.
That was really pretty.
Yeah. I don't know. I think that the relationship aspect is just as important as the photography aspect. Well, yeah, obviously your job is to be a photographer, but your job is also to set the mood.
Comfortable.
Yeah, make people comfortable. And if your subjects aren't comfortable, you're failing, dude.
Yeah. Also, I think that was probably one of the hardest parts of that wedding.
What?
Was the group photos.
Oh my god, yeah, group photos took.
There were just so many people, and it was so just long. Like, I mean, I'm not a very loud person, so I can't even imagine trying to direct. There were probably like
30 or 40 people.
Yeah, there were a lot of people.
Yeah, from both sides of the family and the extended family.
So I was happy that I was the assistant, so I could just kind of sit back and let you take care of that one.
Yeah, I think group photos are my least favorite part of weddings, just because no one wants to do it, but it has to be done, you know? Because if you don't do group photos, there's going to be people complaining. There's going to be like people who feel like they missed out, and you know, it's an essential part of wedding photography, but it's the least favorite of the bunch. Anyways, let's get into the last section of this podcast, and let's talk about me, because I'm full of myself. Mm-hmm. Can you tell me, what are some of your favorite photos that I've taken?
So, a little more context about myself. I work for marketing for KU Athletics during the school years. So, a lot of my job is to accompany the mascots, specifically Baby J, around sporting events and stuff. And at the Big 12 tournament, Jacob was there and Baby J was there, and Jacob took some very nice photos of Baby J. My favorites are Baby J was doing a cartwheel on the court at one point, and Jacob took a bunch of pictures of it, and then he put it into an animation, which I think you can find that on the KU Mascots Instagram page. Shameless plug for that.
Oh yeah, when making that one, it was so difficult because I don't really know how to make animations like GIFs or GIFs, whatever it is, too well. So I just followed some Adobe Photoshop tutorials, and it took like an hour and a half just because I could not figure it out.
You would make them, and then Instagram wouldn't post. Like, I don't know. It's like weird. Cause I think we turned it into a video.
Yeah,
and then it would post, but it wouldn't post just like a GIF.
Yeah,
GIF.
It was weird.
GIF.
It's one of the two. I don't know.
I say GIF.
I say GIF too.
Okay, that's good.
Nice.
But so that's one of my favorite things that you've done. Not because of the, photo itself, just because of I like Baby J.
Yeah.
But I think another one is from one of the first football games for Iowa State that you ever did, I think.
I think it was my first.
Yeah, and it was like this player's like stretching on the field. And
it was Charlie
it's like,
Kohler.
Yeah, and it's from like lower, I think, so you can have like a whole sky is in the back, and it looks really cool. And he's like reaching, and I don't know, I like the angle and the sky.
Yeah, when she first told me about that, I was so confused because like I didn't even think anything about the photo. Like it was just not a notable photo to me, but apparently you really liked that one.
It was really good.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously I like pictures that you've taken of myself, because I too am conceited. It's a picture of Hunter Deckers, the Iowa State quarterback from last season. And was it the Cyhawk game?
Yep, at University of Iowa.
Yeah, and it was like raining, and I guess I like pictures that are taken from a lower angle, because this one's also taken from a lower angle, and it's like raining and the lights are in the background, and it just looks very cool. So
yeah,
I don't really know what else to say about it.
I mean, yeah, that's one of my favorite photos too. It was within the like spread of our first edition of Cloneworthy, and it's also like one of the featured images on my website and Instagram. It's Hunter Deckers just like taking a deep breath after winning the Cyhawk game. It was a horrible game, heavy rain, and in the background there's bokeh of like the lights, and there's like a water droplet on the lens that gives that little radial effect. And then he just looks really cool, and with his with the details of his wristbands, it says me versus me. So I don't know, just adds a little bit of character. I think it's really cool.
I have something to say because you said bokeh.
Mm-hmm.
It just reminded me of when we were before we were even dating, we were like, texting back and forth, and you were like using fancy photography words with me, and you said bokeh. And then you like explained to me what bokeh meant, and then you were like, yeah, we should take photos sometime. And I think you were like telling me I was pretty and stuff.
Yeah, and then we did a photo shoot downtown.
Photographer Riz.
My green sweatshirt. My Riz?
Photographer Riz.
Photographer Riz, I guess.
You're so pretty. We should take a picture.
But yeah, okay, I think we have time for one more of your favorite photos of mine.
Ooh, I know one of my favorite ones.
Which one?
It's this one.
Well, can you describe the photo?
Yeah, I'm going to. Just give me a second.
Oh my gosh, okay.
So this was at a wrestling meet.
Yeah,
I don't
Iowa
know
State
what they're
wrestling.
called. Yeah. For Iowa State, obviously. And they wear these like cool robes that are red, and they say Iowa State on the back. And it's the guy from like kind of the side or the back, so you can like see the Iowa State, and he's standing in front of a light, so it's like
he's silhouetted
illuminating him.
Yeah,
and it looks really cool, and everything else is like dark around it, so it's just like like angels shining on the sky.
Angels, okay. I mean, yeah, there's a bar of light behind him, so you can tell Tilton. But yeah, actually, I think I preferred the other one, the one that was
really.
I think. You know the one I'm talking about. Yeah, where it's just slightly different. There's more red light behind them, and
it's not illuminating him in the same way.
And you can see more of the Iowa State logos on the back of the other wrestlers. In that one, he's really isolated. But
yeah, I think the light is just so dramatic and cool. I really like it.
I like that photo too.
Yeah.
All right. we're getting about to the end of the time for this podcast. So sadly, I have to kick you out, Katie.
You drove me here.
Well, you can walk home.
Okay.
All right. So thanks for coming along. Thanks for talking to me about assisting and just general photography in our relationship and, you know, all that stuff. I really appreciate it. Have anything to say for the audience?
You should probably follow jrice.photos on Instagram if you haven't already. And also you should check out jrice.photography online and go to the blog section and scroll down to find the one about me because it's the best one. And there's also some other ones on there, but they're not as good. So
that was a great plug.
Yep.
Yeah.
Any other plug you want me to do?
Yeah.
Oh, watch every single video on the Jacob Rice YouTube channel. Every one of them.
Yeah.
They're really good.
That'll be in the description. Or if you're watching this on YouTube, give it a like maybe.
And subscribe.
And subscribe.
And maybe comment.
Oh, and comment.
I know I do.
Share the video.
Share it.
We're really just like YouTubers right now,
Mm-hmm.
plugging everything.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Katie, thanks for coming along. I really appreciate you coming on this podcast. And to the viewers out there, yeah, follow me on everything. Check out all my work. Check out the other podcasts. Big thanks to Iowa State Daily for, you know, being a part of this. And yeah, thanks for watching. Catch you in the next one.
Thanks.
Bye.
Bye.
Cool.